Moses was filming an argument when the rage was turned onto him.
Erase that.
Lady, are you crazy?
But then this happens.
Erase
Lady, move.
And the police get involved. So who's going to get arrested here? Recording someone without their consent is illegal, right? Well, that actually depends on the state. The argument takes place in public, right? Well, it's actually a grocery store parking lot, which isn't public property. You get to defend yourself if being attacked, right? Well, we don't actually see physical contact in the video. I've done a deep dive on this interaction, so let's see who's in the wrong and who should go to jail. First, let's walk through the events again. Moses, who goes by WTF Broward on YouTube, is in the Publix parking lot. It's a popular grocery store down in Florida, and we actually have some in Virginia now too. When he sees two women yelling, and he takes out his phone to begin filming.
You're going to hell, and your kids are too.
The yelling match quickly blows over, but then one of those women starts coming towards Moses. She starts yelling at him.
Erase that.
Lady, are you crazy? Whoa.
Erase
Lady.
that or I'll punch the out of you.
She throws a punch, and then she's on the ground.
No, you can't hit me. Yeah, call them. You hit me. I got you on camera hitting me.
The other woman then pulls up to talk to Moses.
She hit me.
I saw that. I'm calling the police.
If you'd like to watch even more of what happened for background, I'll drop a link to Moses' channel in the description below. But can you film what you see out in public? Speaking in broad generalities, yes. Now keep in mind, this video is not legal advice for your specific situation because these laws do vary based on where you are and what state you're in. If you are on public property and are filming what you can see in plain view from that public property, you can film, at least in the US. Filming in public is a right that is basically part of the First Amendment freedom of the press. Even YouTubers like Moses and me are members of the press these days. But like most laws, it isn't always black and white.
You need consent to be filming our customers walking in and out of the store.
That's not true.
If you're standing on a public sidewalk, for example, with a zoom lens into someone's bedroom windows, that could be legally problematic.
He's a peeping Tom.
And Florida, specifically, has a new law that prohibits approaching first responders with or without a camera after you've been given a warning to stay back. And that law doesn't even talk about whether you're on private or public property. He's clearly in a Publix parking lot, which is likely owned either by Publix or the shopping center. While this specific location probably doesn't have rules prohibiting filming in the parking lot, some private property does. Signs prohibiting filming on private property would normally be posted if you're not allowed to film. However, a prohibition against filming could be included in the terms of service that you agreed to in order to attend an event or go to some type of attraction. Or the owner or employees might simply verbally tell you not to film. And if a private property owner prohibits filming, you cannot film while present there, even if you're in a place that we all would think of in a way as sort of being in public, like standing in the middle of a parking lot. So does this woman have any legal right to demand this video be deleted? That's going to be very state specific and depend upon the specific situation that's taking place. Let's look at wiretapping laws as an example. We usually think of wiretapping in terms of literally tapping someone's phone line, but it covers much more than that. And who has a phone line anyway these days? All states and the federal government have laws that prohibit wiretapping. Virginia, for example, criminalizes recording an oral conversation unless one party to the conversation consents to the recording. Virginia law defines oral communication fairly broadly. Oral communication means any oral communication uttered by a person exhibiting an expectation that such communication is not subject to interception under circumstances justifying such expectations, but does not include any electronic communication, which is fancy lawyer talk for someone communicating in a manner that they believe is private when it is objectively reasonable to actually believe that. Shouting in a park isn't private, but whispering in the corner of even a public restroom probably is. These two women shouting at each other in the middle of the grocery store parking lot probably doesn't meet that definition. Since it's not a private conversation, this isn't a protected oral communication under Virginia law. So this yelling match then wouldn't be subject to wiretapping laws if it was taking place in Virginia. So is Moses breaking a wiretapping law by filming this conversation? I'm not a Florida lawyer, but it appears Moses is pretty safe from a wiretapping standpoint. But then does this woman have any legal right to attack Moses? And how far can Moses go to defend himself? In the United States, we have free speech. So this woman can demand anything she wants of Moses, but that doesn't mean that Moses has to comply with her demand. The fancy lawyer term for this situation is the reasonable expectation of privacy. For example, you have a reasonable expectation of privacy in a hotel room or in a bathroom stall. Both are private property that's owned by someone else, but both include a reasonable expectation of privacy for the user who's occupying the property at the time. But if you're visible to other people, like in a grocery store parking lot, you clearly don't have any reasonable expectation of privacy in what's happening in that parking lot. We're being filmed all over the place by surveillance cameras, the police, and even other citizens. If you can see other people, you should assume you're probably on camera. Maybe if this woman explained politely to Moses that she was having a really bad day and reacted poorly to something that happened and asked kindly for Moses to delete the video, maybe he would have done it. And it certainly wouldn't have garnered this much attention if she had reacted in a kinder, gentler way. But instead, this happened.
Lady, move.
Clearly this woman is the first to get physically aggressive. She tries grabbing for Moses' phone a couple of times, which is his private property, securely in his hand. And then she ups the ante with a balled up fist and even threats to use that fist. Moses, to his credit, can be seen physically retreating as she keeps advancing towards him. Florida law is very clear that victims of physical force have no duty to retreat before using force in their defense. We can't see exactly what happens after the lady swings her fist at Moses, but we can see that she ends up on the ground. So it seems like he either pushed or punched at her to get her away. While I haven't become a Florida lawyer during the course of this video, this seems like a very reasonable use of force on Moses' part. She is clearly the aggressor and threatening him while he is backing away trying to get out of the situation. According to Moses, she did in fact hit him. Even if he balled a fist and hit her back, that would seem to be a very reasonable and proportional use of force against the aggressor. So what's my conclusion? There doesn't appear to be anything legally wrong with Moses' filming or his use of force in self-defense in this case. After he engages in some back and forth with the police, they agree to file charges against the woman.
Yeah, we're gonna file charges for you now.
Thankfully, he kept filming and actually caught the lady swinging her fist at him on video. If he didn't have that footage, this situation may have ended up very differently for Moses. If you are lawfully filming and you are accosted like this, keep filming. That may be very useful evidence if the police get involved. But should we be filming each other's arguments and their worst days and putting them on the internet? Probably not. This trend really doesn't improve our culture or our country. It doesn't help any of us really to be better people, other than maybe saying, I don't want to be like that. We can't even have civilized discussions anymore about important issues like politics or religion. And posting people's worst moments online likely helps fuel the polarization and divide that our country's facing. But what if someone like the cops comes onto your private property? Check out this next video where the cops come knocking and asking to see this citizen's guns. How should he respond? Hint, don't talk to the police.